Are you aware that your inner voice is always broadcasting? But the only question is this: is it working for you or against you? Because what you tell yourself on a Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. shapes the decisions you make by noon. Thank you for listening to Routine is Revenue, your place to build routines and bank results. I'm Ildiko Seeley, your routine and performance strategist, and I work with business owners who are capable, driven, and have an internal narrative that still occasionally tells them they are not enough. This episode is for you if you notice patterns of self-doubt, patterns of negative self-talk, or spiraling thinking that shows up precisely when the pressure is on. If you are ready to condition your mindset the same way you would train your body, well, let's get on. Today we're going to look at mindset conditioning, the daily practices of self-talk, belief pattern awareness, and optimism calibration. All the things that keep your thinking sharp, your confidence steady, and your internal narrative working in your favor rather than against you. Now, I bet you that you would never, ever speak to a colleague the way you speak to yourself, would you? This internal commentary that runs in the background, the second guessing, the replaying of things that went wrong, the quiet voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" That is not neutral. That commentary shapes your decisions, your confidence, and ultimately, it shapes your results in business. And in your business, that can be devastating. So when mindset is unmanaged, it does not stay neutral. It drifts into negativity. That is not a character flaw. That's simply biology. The human brain is wired to scan for threat. And in business, threats are absolutely everywhere. A difficult conversation, a slow month, a competitor who seems further ahead, and we always compare, don't we? Now, left unconditioned, your mind will spend a disproportionate amount of energy processing what is going wrong, what might go wrong, and what went wrong in the past. It will replay your mistakes no end, a lot more than your wins. What you really need to be aware of, though, is it will magnify risks and minimize your capability. And here is the compounding effect of this. When your internal narrative is working against you, you hesitate. What are you going to do? You will delay your decisions. What will happen? You will undercharge. You will waste your time by over-preparing because you don't quite trust yourself. And the sad truth is, that is exactly how it shows on your bottom line. You see, your business reflects how you think and how you talk to yourself. Mindset conditioning is not positive thinking for its own sake. It's a deliberate practice of keeping your inner operating system calibrated so that it supports your performance rather than quietly undermining it. You wouldn't let your intellectual health decline and expect your business performance to stay the same, would you? See, the same logic applies to your mental health and your thinking. Now, I learned that mindset conditioning works through repetition and structure, which means it's not a one-time reset, it's a daily practice, something that you build into your routine. And then it gradually shifts your default internal state. Callum, my Canadian guest, explained this really well in the 21st of January episode. And I would like to share a little story with you right now. About 14 years ago, I lost a job in circumstances that knocked me into depression for a few weeks. I won't go into the details here, but it was very sudden and it felt very unjust. And it really shook me and my sense of who I was. But what I know now, looking back, is that the recovery didn't happen because things got easier at all. It happened because I made a decision. A very distinct decision to look for the door that was opening rather than staring at the one that had just closed. And that shift in focus, that changed absolutely everything. Within a year, my life had reorganized itself entirely and largely in my favor. I went to uni, I went traveling on my own, I did everything I ever wanted to do up to that point and never did. I moved towards work that actually aligned with who I was as well. And I started understanding something super important. What you direct your attention to is really what grows. So nowadays, to manage my mental health in particular, I meditate twice a day, I journal daily, I do a self-compassion practice every morning. Could be something that I may never have found probable a couple of years ago. But the result is that my status quo is genuinely positive. Not because nothing goes wrong, I can tell you that, far from it, but because I've conditioned my mind to orient towards what's possible rather than what's not. We had discussed self-compassion with Kellen in great detail. Have a listen to that episode if you've not heard it yet. It's specifically about the practice that you do with yourself. And that conditioning took time and it took consistency. It's still a practice, not an achievement. But the return on investment is the highest of anything I do for my business. So as we explored rhythms and routines in Routine Reset 9 2 weeks ago, the morning is the most powerful conditioning window you have. What you feed your mind in the first hour or so shapes the tone of your entire day. So in relation to your mental health, the 4 components that work are a daily intention that anchors what matters today, a brief practice of naming what is working rather than defaulting to what's not, a verbal or written affirmation or even lofty questions of things that you actually believe in, not one that feels like a lie, and a mechanism for interrupting spirals when they start before they build momentum. And the interruption piece is critical. Spirals do not announce themselves. They arrive quietly and then they build fast. The skill is catching them early, noticing the shift in tone, naming it, and redirecting deliberately rather than getting swept along. So what happens if your inner commentary keeps running unchecked? You're going to keep pushing, won't you? You will keep performing. But underneath, the unmanaged self-talk accumulates, and these are the things that will happen. Your decisions will feel heavier than they should. You will second-guess yourself at critical moments. You will hold back when you should be visible. And worse, you invest enormous amount of energy in looking confident while feeling less so inside. So over time, it's undoubtedly a performance cost. Then it becomes an energy cost. Managing a negative internal narrative is exhausting work. It takes up cognitive space that could be going into your business, into your relationships, and your creativity. The mind you do not condition does not stay neutral. It will drift. And where it drifts, it shapes everything that follows. So when do you start conditioning your mindset with the same intention you bring to your business strategy? I'd imagine it's not when things come down, because they never do. Not after the next launch, or not after the next difficult quarter. Now is the perfect time, because the business conditions you are building towards will demand a stronger internal narrative, not a weaker one. So if this has hit home really real, your next step is simple. As you know, I'm leading the routine revolution for business owners, and part of it is my 52 to 52 campaign. I'm offering a 1-hour private routine audit conversation every week for 52 weeks from the 7th of April to mark my 52nd birthday. These are focused sessions for business owners who want to build the internal and external routines that will hold them under pressure. So please visit routinerevolution.co.uk and register your interest to find out more. Now, condition your mind like you mean it. And remember, a healthier you makes a wealthier you.